Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Straight Vibing with Lady J. I hope everybody is doing good. Okay, I want to touch light on something that I have experienced, and I've never done this before. And I just feel I need to tell this story because I know a lot of people are probably experiencing this or have experienced this. As you know, I have discussed as far as, I have a lot on my plate with myself, figuring my life out, growing into my newfound self, loving myself, and all this kind of stuff. Well, I had a mishap where I actually barricaded myself in my room. I've had moments, I've lost it, I've, had postpartum depression. I've really been through some shit, but yesterday was an emotional one for me. And when I say emotional, whoosh, I just wanted to be left alone. And the thing is, with everything that has happened on in recent months and stuff, and kind of feel like a caged animal myself, I'm, always out. Anybody who knows me knows I'm always doing something. I'm going somewhere, jet setting, this, that, what have you. Well, there's so many things at play right now as far as, my health. Some of y'all know about my spine, and I have, like I mentioned in live, I have 2 MRIs coming up on Friday, so we'll see what that gives us as far as answers. Um, but I just was overwhelmed. I mean, so bad, like even just to hear someone's voice, I just lost it. I put a chair up against my door. I closed my curtain. I didn't feel depressed as to me wanting to take my life. I'm sitting there and I'm having a conversation with God, and I'm like, why? Like, I know my worth, but I felt restrained. And when you're going through something and you hear all the time from, people that love you, I'm here if you want to talk, and that sometimes you got people there for you, but there's times you just don't want to hear it. It's just like, shut the fuck up. I know you're there, but some of us just need our space, our privacy. Some of us just sort through things in our little bubble. And for me, when someone's forcing themselves on me, even though, because they care, I know they care, but there's times the person just wants to be left alone. And I know at times it's like, well, what the fuck is it? You want someone to be there for you. And then I reach out, everybody goes through their points where there's times they want to be comforted by somebody. And then there's times they just don't want comfort at all. They just want to be left alone for them to sort through things. And yes, it's good to talk, but sometimes some of us just need our time to process certain things and try to, find new ways and whatever. And talking helps with that, yes. But at times you have to respect when people say they want to be left alone. They want to be left alone. It's hard when we care about somebody and we want to try to find ways or give them an answer to whatever they're going through. But sometimes that just isn't the answer. Sometimes the answer is within us as far as finding that resolution or trying to, find a new way. And for me, I was like, I've never barricaded myself in my room. I've been through some shit. And I have to say, in past, I've gotten to my feels where I have, you know, knocked shit off my desk. Like I legitimately at one point wanted just to go into the house yesterday and just trash the whole house. But then I sat there and I spoke, said to myself, what is that really going to achieve? What is that going to give me? It might relieve the frustration, but what then? And, some of us, we get irritated, we vamp on our people. We don't mean to, but it's just because we're irritated, right? And whew, I, I was almost ready to pack a bag and hitchhike. You have no idea. I had my bag on the floor and I was just done. I was just like, fuck, like, who Lady J is, I feel like part of me has been restrained. And to have that feeling, it was too overbearing yesterday. Like, I'm like, I really don't care where I go. I just don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to hear voice. I just don't. I just want to be in my own little bubble. And I feel I have to put this out there because I know there's individuals that are going through the same thing. And yes, running away doesn't solve your problems, but sometimes running away is a reset. And sometimes we need that. And even though slowly things are coming back to a new norm, we're still kind of caged. So for myself, it's like, I know I have places to go if I want to, take a little hiatus. But at the same time, there's still people around me. And there's times I just don't want anybody around me. I just want to go through my shit myself. It's hard. It's hard when you're coming into a transitional point in your life and you're finding new ways to cope, to deal, to manage. And it just tends to be overwhelming along with other things that you may have going on in your world, right? Man, I'm so glad that I know my worth, because if this had been a year ago, I think my reactions would have been totally different. I would have trashed this house. I would have just, it would have been, it wouldn't have been good. And yes, it wasn't healthy barricading me, but this is the reason I barricaded my doors. It was my symbolism of, I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to bother with anybody. It's hard when you're sorting through things in your head, and as I said the other episode, I suppressed a lot of healing, and I see people go through stuff and they post about the same shit every day, every day. I can't live that shit in my head continuously. And I don't know how some people can just live like that, like the, oh, woe is me, oh, narcissism this, oh, people that. I mean, there's a time, you can say shit. But for some of y'all, every day you're singing the same song. How do you do that? I lose my fucking shit on a day or two on that vibe. And I never really go past more than 3. And anybody who knows me, if I'm on a friggin' MIA for more than 3 days and nobody sees or hears from me, that's when you need to start panicking. Because Lady J doesn't hit more than 3 days. But I can't wrap my head around how people can just be that way day in and day out and just harbor on shit that they can't control, or harbor on shit that was on in the past. You learn from it. Take those tools and move forward. But don't rehash your pain. Don't rehash your shit. Because you're just keeping yourself caged. You're keeping yourself locked down. You're not allowing yourself to heal. You're not allowing yourself to bloom because you're stunting your growth by harboring that shit. And I'm glad today I woke up. And when I woke up, I didn't feel the heaviness that I did yesterday. Like I said, it wasn't at a point where I wanted to take my life. I was just done. I was fed up. I was like, who Lady J is. I can't be that person right at this moment. And it frustrated the fuck out of me. And even though I had people around me reaching out and trying to console me, I got irritated with them. And I feel bad in that. And I'm doing, things to try to find ways so I don't have to vamp on them, because they don't deserve that. They're going through their own stuff too. And that's why at times I don't like talking to people about my shit, because I know when I'm going through my shit, sometimes I just don't want to hear people's shit because of the fact that I need a box of Kleenex here. It's not that you don't want to be there for people, but sometimes when you're going through shit, to take on someone else's shit, it adds on top of what you're already dealing with. So for me, I just totally separate myself, But I had to do this video to let y'all know that it's gonna be okay. There is solutions to how you deal with things. It's up to you to find them and customize it for what's good for you. Um, yo, man, I'm just glad I'm at a point in my life where I love myself because I know, like I stated it 3 years, 2 years ago, I almost took my life. That's how deep of a depression I was in. I had these pills that I was put on at that time, and they were sitting on my bedside, and I had them in my hand, and I was tempted to take them, and I was just like, no, like what is that going to do? Like I already, not that I fear death. I don't fear death because I know everybody's, is time is going to come. It's the thought of what my loved ones are going to endure, the pain that the people I leave behind are going to endure, and that's what kills me inside. That's what just like, because I know what it's like to lose a loved one. So to know that feeling and that hurt, I don't want my loved ones to go through that, but you can't ignore that. You can't avoid that. It just happens, right? But I had to do this. I had to let y'all know where my head was at because I know a lot of us, we don't really speak on what's going on in our heads. And while I laid in this bed for hours yesterday, you know, and I'm going through my head and I'm like, I'm not mad at anybody specifically. I don't question my self worth. My life is really not that shitty. I have a roof over my head. I have people that love me. You know, I'm blessed in a lot of ways, but I still felt this heaviness. And y'all, it's oh, it's a lot. And people that are tuned into this, just know it's okay to want your space and your privacy. It's okay to reach out to people when you need them. To the people that want to be there for your loved ones when you see them go through it. Yes, check on them. Make sure they're good. Sometimes for the one that's going through it, sometimes hearing, I'm here if you want to talk. I don't know, but um, for myself, that's just like, I know, you know what I mean? Like, I know if I need to reach out to somebody, somebody is there. And I guess you just really kind of have to gauge that with each individual because each individual is different. Sometimes a person does want to be fully consoled while they're going through it. They do want to talk to someone and sort it out. But there's some group of us, that we just want our space. We just want our, you know, time to figure things out in our head, sort it through, and then we can talk about it. And at times, we ourselves, when we're going through it, we don't realize how we project our response and our feelings. Sometimes like I know with me, I know I get irritated, and the way I lash out at the time I'm doing it, I know I'm just kind of responding, but at that moment, I don't think of what that reaction is doing to the person that cares and is reaching out for me. Some people are understanding and they're like, okay, I get it, and they fall back. And then there's the ones that have a hard time trying to grasp an understanding of what it is you're going through. They just really want to kind of, you know, focus on what they think it is that's going on with you. Or some people take it personal where it's like, well, me. And it's like, as they say, sometimes we hurt the ones we love the most. And it's because you're close to us. And it's not that we intentionally do it. It's just, we do what we do. It's our defense mechanism. But at the same time, we tend to say or do things towards somebody without consciously, aware of it because we're so caught up in the emotion. And no matter what emotion you're in, if you can't control those things, it's just a default mode for you to react those certain ways. So you don't really, until you become consciously aware of it and are taking the necessary steps to go ahead and change that and find alternative ways to respond or react, that takes some time. And I definitely have said to my loved ones, I'm gonna do better on that point. It's just, at times, I just don't think to say certain things, but now, especially after yesterday, you know, I, me put a chair up against the door, even when I wanted to take my life, I didn't do that. Even when, I have been through so many situations, and for me to do that yesterday, I was like, wow. But when I did that, I thought of it, it was, like I said, it was my way of saying, respect my space. It wasn't a thing where I was like hurting myself or anything like that. And I know my loved ones were checking on me because they were concerned about me. But, sometimes our actions, it doesn't necessarily mean what other people think, but they don't know what's in our head. And sometimes, when we're going through our thing, we don't want to speak what's in our head because we don't know what the fuck is going on. So we're trying to sort it out. So sometimes when you're caught in that emotion, again, it's just a natural reaction. And even though I felt like I wasn't getting my space, I'm like, you know what, fuck you. I've got nowhere to go right now. So this is what I'm going to do. But it was just like, for me, it was like, I'd hear things and it's like, fuck, like, I literally was sitting there and was like, yo, if I was to hitchhike, I'd be cool with roughing it for a few days in the bush, underneath a tarp or something, just where I could just totally just be by myself and sort it through in my head. So I just felt in my heart that I had to speak on this today because it's been a long, trying several months for all of us. And I know a lot of people are going through what I'm going through. So I wanted to share how my moment was with that. And I just have to put this message out there for the person that's going through it and for the loved ones that have people that are going through it, trying to help, everybody understand their part on those situations, what they need to do. Check on your people. Yes, check on your people. But if you know them well enough for them to say to you, I need my space, gauge that and determine that, okay, you know what? I'm going to let them have their space. With me, like I said, I don't need much time. I just need a day or two and I'm good on my shit. Some people aren't like that because everybody deals with their stuff differently. Check on your people, but just try to find alternate ways for reaching out to them. And it sounds redundant as shit to sit there and say, I'm here for you, because we know you're there for us. I don't know at this point in time, I don't know what you could say, but maybe try to find an alternate way to let that person know, maybe just the simple, like we do say, well, if you need me, I'm here. But sometimes, again, we don't want to hear that. Just be like, you already know what's up. You know how to find me. And that's it. Or just, again, gauge it because every individual is different. Yo, this is a short one, but I just felt I had to do this episode because it's small. And for me, when I see certain people that just can totally be in that, I don't know how people can live like that continuously. I feel sorry for people that suffer PTSD every day. I've been through a lot of shit and I've never been diagnosed with PTSD, but I know people that have been through similar shit as I have and they have endured it. And I know it's just everybody's DNA and how everybody's wired differently, right? But me, I'm the type of person I can, move from it and move forward. And sometimes moving from it is taking, like I said many times before, taking something from it and using that to make a better me, a better version of me. So through this, I definitely learned I have to find a healthier way to express to my loved ones, what I'm going through without doing it in an irritated way. No, there was no physicality. But I know there are some folks that do resort to that. And it's okay to be frustrated. And as they say, go to the gym, hit a punching bag and stuff like that. That works for some people. Breathing techniques work for some people. Find something suitable for you that makes you feel comfortable. Don't get me wrong, it won't be comfortable at first because you're foreign. It's foreign to you. Change is like, whoo, I don't know about that. It's scary. When you're not familiar with a new thought process, a new action, it's like, but once you start implementing it, you'll see change. I promise you, you will. So I love you guys, and I thank you for tuning in for this episode of Straight Vibing with Lady J. Feel free to drop in the comments any ideas, not just for me, for anybody who may watch this that is going through the same thing as me. But know that you are not alone. No, you are not the only one that's going through these different emotions and feelings and thoughts. It's trying. Some days it's harder than others. It truly, truly is. But no, it adds to you to be a better version of you. You will rise from this just like I have and still am. I love you guys. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for vibing with me. I hope you all have a super blessed day, super blessed rest of the week. I will see you Saturday. I'm going to chime in the afternoon. I'll do a little vibe Saturday afternoon. We'll say around 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. I will be here for a little vibe and give you an up-to-date. Well, I won't know the information on my MRI probably till next week. But anyways, y'all, keep vibing whatever your vibe is. I love you. Thank you so much for taking time to vibe out with me. Until then, stay blessed.